Yo, it's your boy Class J Wayne back with another video. Y'all know what it is, what it does, what it look like. And today, reacting to my mom forced me to babysit my psycho sister. And she's 18. Why is you babysitting an adult? You don't have to do that. You don't have to do that. She can go to the club or something, get babysitted by somebody else. Let's play the video.
I'm the smart one, or that's what my mother always told me. I'm one of 4 sisters. There's my older sister, Kathy, and the twins, Debbie and Joy, and me, Stacy, stuck right in the middle. We were all born within a few years of each other, and honestly, I think my parents had trouble coping with so many little kids running around the house. When I was 4 or 5, my mom started to define us, and not in a good way. Kathy was the pretty one, I was the smart one, and the twins were special. As we got older, it only got more intense. My mom would always tell me that the world is harder on smart girls, so I should expect to fight for everything I wanted. You'll be a scientist and make a big discovery. No, Mama, I want to be a pilot one day. That would be a huge waste of time. The world has plenty of pilots. My mom would then predict the absolute opposite future for my sister Kathy. She would tell Kathy over and over how much the world loves a pretty girl. High school years were the worst. Kathy easily fell in with the cool crowd, and everything was working out for her pretty much as my mom had said. But not for me. Not so much. In the beginning, the smart kids let me hang with them, but after a while, I couldn't keep up. I mean, physics is just not my thing. Dissecting little animals in biology freaked me out, and I had no idea what Shakespeare was talking about most of the time. The smart kids figured out the truth and quit hanging out with me. It turns out that I wasn't any smarter than most of the kids in my class. I had to study really hard to ace a test and work long hours into the night on my homework. It didn't help that Kathy told all of her girlfriends that I was the smart one, and they started asking me to do their homework. At first, I said no, but these were mean girls on top of being popular girls, and they spread a nasty rumor about me. Even my sister spread the rumor around just to make me do her homework. The other kids believed the rumor, and I either got teased or ignored. High school is hard enough without that kind of pressure. I caved. I started doing my sister's homework and special project homework for her friends. They went around school and started taking back the rumor. It worked, and kids no longer whispered behind my back, but I still had no friends at all. It made me think that my mom had been right. My life was hard, and Kathy's was pretty sweet. But it also confused me because I wasn't off the charts smart, just your normal above-average student. The truly crazy smart kids weren't having a hard life. They were all looking at futures with fancy colleges and great jobs. I would just sit in my room and just get so angry about how unfair everything seemed. I really tried to be happy, but I wasn't. I was just lonely and overwhelmed. I tried to talk to my mother about it. I explained that I didn't feel that smart, and yet everyone was expecting me to perform at this really high academic level. I asked her if we couldn't bring those expectations down a notch because I felt like I was drowning. My mom barely heard me, and she certainly didn't understand. Oh, Stacy, I told you that your life would be hard because of your intellect. Just be patient. Things will get better when you're a grown-up. Don't you get it? I'm not super smart. The future you keep talking about isn't mine. Her eyes narrowed. She got really angry and grounded me for 2 weeks because I raised my voice. I never tried to talk to her about my troubles again, but I had to do something. My sister and her friends kept loading their homework onto my pile. I felt like I never slept, and I had big, dark bags under my eyes to prove it. To make matters even worse, my twin sisters were now in high school with Kathy and me. Whenever they got stuck on something in their homework, they'd go to Mom and ask for her help. Go ask Stacy to help you. She's the smart one. So they did. And I'd always help them because it was expected of me. I would always help them, even if it meant staying up really late to finish my own work, because that's what sisters do. One day, my dad was out working in the garage on one of his vintage cars. I slid onto a stool and watched him fiddle with the engine. Finally, I asked my big question. Dad, do you think I'm smart? Really, really smart?
Sure, Stacy. You're the smart one. You solved that puzzle before your sisters even got started when you were 5. You've always been the smart one.
I literally jumped off the stool. What? All of this smart one stuff because I solved a puzzle when I was 5? He looked at me for the first time, surprised, I guess, that I didn't know the puzzle story.
Well, yeah, Stacy. That's when your mom figured out how smart you are.
I stood there, stunned. All the pain and struggle of the past few years flooded through me. I ran out of the garage straight to my room and fell on my bed, crying. I wasn't super smart. My parents were super stupid. Okay, that's harsh, but still, my whole life had been shaped because of some silly kids puzzle. I changed that day. The next day, the twins came to my room with a project they wanted me to do for them at the last minute. Nope, I'm going to bed. They looked at me in shock, and then, "You can't go to bed," the other twin finished her sentence, "because we'll fail the class if you don't help us." I walked over and turned out the lights and crawled into bed. They went crazy and started jumping on me. Get up! Get up! You can't do this to us!" Watch me. The twins were furious and stormed out of the room. I heard them complaining to my mother, and she came into my room a few minutes later to take their side. "What's wrong with you, Stacy? Get up and help your sisters. They're your sisters and deserve your help. This is no time to be selfish."
Man, if you a family member, bro, you ain't gotta help no family member because you they family. So?
Lazy, I ignored her too and dug deeper into the blankets. She finally left and slammed the door. I just lay there breathing heavily. It was scary to say no, but I'd done it. The twins barely spoke to me after that, just because I wouldn't do their homework. My mom never stood up for me, ever. Pretty much the same thing happened when I turned down my sister and her friends. They trapped me in one of the hallways at school. They threatened to start rumors again if I didn't get busy with their work. They were way more frightening than the twins. These girls had expected me to do their college applications and even do their final essays. They had a lot on the line and wanted me to make it all happen for them. Finally, I'd had enough. No, no, no. I won't do your work. My work is hard enough. Just leave me alone. I jerked free of my sister's grip and ran away from them. But I never got free. They did start telling horrible stories about me at school, and my sister was the worst of them. My whole time in high school was lonely and pretty horrible. But guys, don't feel sorry for me because I have good news for you. My Story Animated will give $1,000 to anyone who will subscribe in the next 7 days.
Go sub.
Tell your friends, tell your sister, brother, and mom to subscribe now.
Wait, hold on. Yeah, but I want that money.
When I got to college, I had a chance to make a fresh start.
Oh,
I made sure not to act too smart around anyone.
And you can't even skip it, so you gotta see this dude dance. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, man.
Whenever the professor asked me a question in class, I always answered, "I don't know." But I ran into a big problem. I didn't really know who I was. I thought goth girls looked cool, so I tried being a goth girl. I started going to classes dressed in all black with black lipstick, black nail polish, and a spiked necklace. I even met a cool goth guy named Lizard. Not his real name, of course. He was my first boyfriend. It was cool for a while, but the real goth kids sensed I wasn't fully on board and started keeping their distance from me. Being goth wasn't really working out or even that fun for me. Besides, I was getting sick of wearing all black. So one day, I showed up in class wearing a pink sweater set and lavender capris. No more black lipstick or pointy jewelry. A couple of the kids didn't even recognize me. This was fun. People smiled at me more, and the teacher even called on me a couple of times. She didn't even look annoyed that I gave my standard "I don't know" response to a question. A cute guy from class named Eric invited me to go get coffee with him afterward, and I said yes. I don't think he even realized that I'd been in the class with him all along. We had a great time talking about how hard the class was and just general life things. He asked me out to dinner, and I almost said yes until I remembered that I had a date that night with Lizard. I suggested another night, and we made a plan. All of a sudden, I was dating 2 guys. Of course, there was a catch. I dressed as a goth when I had a date with Lizard, and a preppy girl when I was out with Eric. It got a little crazy around my dorm room. One time, I was all dressed in my goth gear when I got a text from Eric saying that he was running a few minutes late. Oh my gosh, I thought the date was with Lizard. I had to change everything. I crazy fast switched my clothes, hair, and makeup and was literally out of breath when Eric arrived at the door 15 minutes later. It all came to a head when I was out at the club with Eric. We were dancing and having a fun time when I see Lizard come through the door. I freaked out and tried to stay out of Lizard's sight without Eric noticing that I was trying to hide behind him. For a while, it seemed to work. Lizard hung out with his friends and didn't really notice me. I almost had Eric convinced that I had a headache and we should leave the club when Lizard appeared in front of us.
You are the most fake girl I've ever met.
I stood there not knowing what to say. Eric jumped to my defense.
Don't talk to my girlfriend that way. Well, when she's my girlfriend, she dresses goth. Is this true? Wait a minute. Are you the goth girl that used to be in class?
I'm still in class. Look, I apologize for not being totally honest with both of you.
Too late.
Too embarrassed to even look at Eric, I reached out for his hand and he jerked back.
Dang.
Stay away from me. I don't even know you.
I ran to the bathroom and sobbed. They were right. I had become a fake. When I finally came out and made my way to the door, I felt people staring at me and saw them whispering behind their hands. The next time I went to class, I wore my old jeans and a t-shirt. When the professor called on me, I knew the answer, and so I just said it. I tracked down a small flight school and finally took my first flying lesson. It was magical and I was finally free. I finished college and kept up my training until I actually got my license to fly helicopters. All my mom could say was, "What a waste." I took a deep breath and just smiled at her. She'll never change, but I can. Now I fly rescue and recovery because I know how it feels to be lost. Learning how to fly is the smartest thing I've ever done.
That story was pretty good. But anyway, y'all know it's time to wrap it up, pack it up, dap it up, crack it up. Until tomorrow, peace.